area of wildlife monitoring, technology has aided biologists, conservationists, researchers, and many more with gaining a better understanding of the natural world through non-invasive techniques. One particular technology is a relative newcomer to the scene, the Autonomous Recording Unit, or for short, ARU. An ARU can both be deployed in marine and terrestrial environments and track the behavior of animals and monitor their ecosystems through sound recording. First developed more than a decade and a half ago, the ARU has become more and more commonplace in wildlife monitoring efforts in the last few years. ARUs are sometimes referred to as song meters, as they typically record the vocalizations of birds, bats, and frogs. Today, there are a few options available in the market. The two main brands that tend to be used are Wildlife Acoustics and Open Acoustic Devices. Although Wildlife Acoustics and Audio Moths are similar in their basic function of recording wildlife, the former is a more rugged, expensive option with better audio recording quality, stereo imaging, and a more user-friendly interface. Currently, there are 3 generations of Wildlife Acoustics that are still being used in avian and bat research today: the SM2, SM3, and the SM4. The SM2, being the oldest, requires the user to open up the plate in order to access, program, and activate the recording schedule for the unit. It also requires the user to twist a pair of microphones onto the mic ports. The SM3 did away with this and made the unit bear-proof with its rugged steel construction. The controls are found on the outside of the unit and the mics are built in. However, this generation was shortly replaced by the SM4, which did away with the excessive weight and size. In addition to being lighter and smaller, a cover was put over the controls to keep the unit safe from the outside elements. Like the SM3, it too had built-in microphones. All in all, it proved to be the best design and is still being put out by Wildlife Acoustics today. Wildlife Acoustics also offers ARUs that can detect bat vocalizations in the form of ultrasonic recorders. They look identical to the SM4 design. More recently, Wildlife Acoustics has come out with smaller offerings of their ARU, which follows the SM4 type design. These include the Song Meter Mini and the Song Meter Micro. The Song Meter Micro in particular might be influenced by the competition of our next focus brand, the Audio Moth. Though the Audio Moth is a more basic offering, records in mono, and does not have adjustable control functions built into the unit, it is incredibly cost-effective and small. I, for one, was grateful when the company, Open Acoustic Devices, decided to put out a waterproof case for their unit this year. Although the case is quite pricey compared to how much the ARU itself costs, it sure beats putting the unit into a Ziploc bag and tying it to a tree. Now, how does one use an ARU in wildlife monitoring? What's the protocol? Generally, the user would set a recording schedule for the ARU based on the built-in program that the unit comes with. The schedule, for example, could be intervals of 3-minute clips every half hour or long periods of time only at dusk and dawn. Once a schedule is established, the user would then place the unit in the field. Most of the time, the ARU is attached to a tree with a Velcro strap, bungee cord, or a pair of screws. Based on the protocol that the project outlines, the ARU will face a certain direction and is then activated by the user before they leave the site. Ultimately, the unit can be left out for as long as there is battery life or there is room for data to collect on the SD card. The data is collected in the form of waves, which then can be analyzed further by a well-trained ornithologist during playback for species identification or by software. A web implementation of the unmodified BirdNet algorithm can be found at birdnet.cornell.edu. Ultimately, ARUs truly have their place in wildlife monitoring research. As evidenced with our very own EBC ARU initiative, several species at risk were detected and confirmed. One ARU was particularly notable as it recorded evidence of breeding eastern whippoorwills and common nighthawks. It also happened to capture the endangered Kirtland's warbler vocalizing on the property, which of course was a huge win for us. A Canada warbler and eastern wood pewee also happened to be detected as well, which brought the total number of species at risk to 5 on this one property. It is safe to assume that without this technology, it is doubtful that some or any of these species would have been detected. This truly shows the value of an ARU, and in my humble estimation, it proves that the ARU isn't going anywhere anytime soon in the world of wildlife monitoring. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you enjoy the content and have a beautiful day.